Now, let's talk about... Now, obviously, I don't know whether or not they're going to be playing this map. I don't think they will be, because from what I can remember, Siege of Shanghai is the actual next map.
No, the map is Langshan Dam.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yes, it is indeed. Just had a quick check over on the rules there.
Okay, then. Now, that's great. So, I think what we need to do is let's talk about this map as a map, generally. Now, obviously, guys, bear in mind, there are still issues with this particular map and sound bugs. So, if things seem strangely quiet, that's the reason why. As there will be.
Does not happen.
Exactly. So, at this current moment, you've got the Russian spawn over there. And you've got their gimme, which is A in this complex building here. And then you've got the C building, and you've got the other spawn. So, that's essentially what you've got at the moment. You've got the two spawns, there we go, they're restarting the server, and then two flags over which they will be fighting. So, the uncappables they can't get into, and we shall be waiting to see how things turn out with respect to both of these teams. Now, obviously, you're going to want to get that uncappable very quickly, meaning, or sorry, not the uncappable, your nearest point. But do you think that a lot of the battles are actually going to happen over the island, which is the point B? Because the question I'm thinking is, if you go for A, C, or sorry, B even, I'm so used to it being C on Big Conquest, is actually a very open area and very hard to defend effectively, especially when you've got the likes of attack boats, like this little fellow here, complete with minigunners on the back, providing a lot of support around that area. What do you think would be a good option to go for on this particular map, Dogbert?
I think both teams are going to make their main effort over towards A and C accordingly, depending on their spawn points. I think B is going to be that kind of flag that maybe you'll commit to and put quite a bit of effort into. Obviously with the boats here, I don't know. I really haven't had much of a chance to see how the boats are going to impact the game. But
somebody's actually rolled a boat onto the ground.
Yeah,
how is that even possible?
That. I'm looking at the lovely thing about the tabletop view is you're able to have a little mini cam in the corner which shows you what's going on, which is brilliant. I think both factions are going to look to control the land flags, unfortunately, as what they would want to do is lock their opponent into the base, which is a kind of general strategy when you can't full cap in Battlefield. So look for the main pressures to be around A and C, but with B being captured for the sole purpose of getting the ticket bleed. So if a team gets really adventurous, they're going to try and lock in the opposing team, but they'll only do that after they manage to get a good wipe on either the enemy vehicles or when they take complete control of the flags through other means.
Absolutely. Now, guys, in chat, if you're watching this, we'd appreciate your feedback on options you prefer. Now, obviously, we can show the mini-map or the large tabletop to show the individual movements of both of the teams, but predominantly I was going to go free cam to show you most of the action. If you would prefer to see first person, then by all means let us know, but you can pretty much see most of what's going on. As you can see now, the Chinese boat, which is Empire, you can see these guys moving in and trying to take that point, as it looks like you've now got the Russian boat moving in behind, and he's going to try and engage the Chinese boat. There we go, out comes the fire, and you can see them in there, and now goes the tower launchers and the Chinese boat. Oh, look at that! Fire going in between the two boats. This is naval combat, and an RPG from the ground as well, from the sea point, from the Chinese team, actually managed to take down that attack boat. So they have actually secured that island, and they now have the bleed onto the Russian team, which is obviously Vin, and now they've got to try and recover that. What's going on the main ground area over at the other side, Dogbert?
From what I've seen, Vin really seemed to be kind of a muddle here. They took A, obviously, which they were always going to get, but I think they've been pretty thrown off by the fact that Empire has put so much effort into the B flag, and I think that they probably expected it wasn't going to be that big of an issue. What happened over at B was the fact that the boat had dropped off two infantry, which were both engineers, and they were able to help in clearing out the boat when it went on for a one-on-one exchange with Empire's boat. But what's happening now is just Vin just seem to be really confused. They're getting attacked at A now by just a small group of infantry, no vehicles or anything. But Vin are just really slow to react, and their vehicles are just not on the map at all.
Yeah, now obviously we're looking around the point here at the moment. You can see the A point currently under a lot of being contested pretty seriously, as you can now see the likes of the APCs and the IFVs moving forward. So these guys moving forward to put more pressure onto the B point and the infantry who are defending that point. There we go, lovely kills going in there. Look at that fire going into that building, and unfortunately the guys hiding behind don't stand much chance. You can see that poor guy hiding as best he can to try and make sure that his friends, and trying to hold off on that capture point just to make sure, there we go, more friends spawn on him. They can now slow that down, and that's Bam Billy in there as well. Looks like he's taking on a few other members. There's Empire Line being finished off, and there's obviously Bros over here who seems to be waiting for the inevitable.
As soon as Empire were able to clear up the APC there, that is going to probably leave the A flag in Empire's control unless they can get a very good and large spawn here. Vin's helicopter pilot, which is the only one up in the air at the moment, is smoking and looks like it will be taken out very soon. If A goes down here, you are going to find Vin being completely locked in and controlled by a superior Empire team lineup right now.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way now. I'm looking at the Empire IFV currently just outside the B point, being repaired. However, it is being engaged by RPGs from the Vin team inside the A point. They are taking furious amounts of fire. Now, the point is, where is the Vin armour? It looks like it might be being locked down outside their spawn, and this is exactly the kind of thing that you were talking about, is that you can see the Empire guys, they're actually, now they've got that C point, they're actually making use of the attack boat to pin the enemy armour down before they're even able to get out of the control point, out of their spawn even. And that looks like more damage onto this IFV vehicle. It's trying to be repaired. They're going to try and have to get out there, and literally gets hit by another Tau as soon as it tries to move. Now that's going to be a severe problem for these guys, and you've also got one of the Empire guys up there, up close and personal.
Yeah, have a look at the Empire's infantry positioning here. They obviously have two people that are basically locking any reinforcements coming from the main spawn over to A, and by the time it's taken for them just to clear up a few of this infantry outside of the Russian spawn, Empire have took A and now are holding 3 flags.
Yeah, now obviously we're looking at some more of the infantry. You've got a Jeep moving in as well, and it looks like they're actually moving the attack boats and the IFV over to the B point to try and capture it. But you can see Jeeps that are in there, the Empire Lime in as well, and you've got another engineer, Haycock. Now, that's interesting. He looks to be doing air defense and an Igla shot onto the helicopter of the Vin team. So the scout helicopter there, they've got an engineer on the case, and he's flying around. He's going to try and do a little bit of damage, but he takes another shot, multiple shots going into him. Looks like Stingers are doing a serious amount of damage, and he may have to...
Empire choppers up as well, so they're definitely going to find themselves in a very close aerial battle.
Oh, look at that. Very close aerial battle going on between the two teams. So you can now see the gunfire coming out between the two scout choppers. As you can see, these two guys fighting, and it's kind of nice that they've both got... Oh, look at that! Lovely multiple shots, and the scout helicopter goes down for Team Empire, but the Vin helicopter has managed to survive, and thanks to a very good engineer in the rear, repairing like his life depends on it, which in fact it does. But you can now see that the B point is in the process of being recaptured, and it looks like 2 members of Empire have actually gone on there. And unfortunately the attack boat has not managed to suppress them and prevent that cap, but it's certainly trying. And let's see what we got on. As you've got, looks like you've got a single boat driver, and looks like the minigun operator has decided to bail out and go in the support. So looks like they're trying to stop the bleed on the tickets. Look at the ticket numbers, 204 to 94. That's a serious amount of ticket bleed going on there, Dogbert.
Yes, indeed. They find themselves quite far behind. They made a good push with infantry when they realised that the A point was going down. One guy got to see and managed to capture it. That has ended in a prolonged infantry battle, which Empire had to commit to win. But that has left them without the ticket bleed. They had domination up until that point, but now they are finding themselves, possibly very soon for the first time in the game, with a ticket bleed against them.
Yeah, it's looking that way at the moment. Look at all those flags flashing now. As you can see, the Russian team moving into the research facility, and he's got to be careful in case you're going to have people sneaking in around him. And that's Mace Windu in as the IFV, And the one thing you do learn, oh, that's what you got to be careful for. You've got to keep these vehicles on the move constantly. As he now comes under fire from one of the IFVs, he gets taken down along with his teammate. And now you can see the Empire first noob making his way in through the camera and into the research facility to try and recapture that. All the time he's spamming the buildings of the research facility to make sure nobody's in there who can do any kind of damage. So this is turning out to be an interesting map thus far, and now the bleed is currently sitting onto the Chinese team, so the Empire team need to turn it around. And it looks like the scout helicopters, oh look at that, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch. Look at that missile going nutty. And now you can see here, as we move in, on the scout helicopters, as they're having a tussle in the air, we're watching Impact Frost, who is the scout helicopter pilot for Vin, and he's trading fire with the Empire scout helicopter. Let's see who this is. No, we can't tell because of the out of combat area. Thank you. Thank you for that. So now you can see the A point being rigorously defended, but you've also now got an infantry section moving in from Empire in towards that A point. They're using the RPGs to suppress that IFV. IFV takes some damage. There we go. He goes down. And now you've got another member of Empire also moving in. That's Lime. And you can see them bypassing those anti-vehicle defences. And they're going to be taking that A point. And that should be then a bleed re-established onto the Vin team.
Vin team are finding themselves kind of spread out quite a bit here. They've got one man capturing over at C, capturing it because they realised that they had already lost a B. They need to just get that bleed off them as much as they can. Empire themselves seem to have put all their infantry, all their eggs into one basket, which is the A flag. They start to spread out a bit, make sure that the road isn't going to be completely controlled by Vin vehicles, which while the Mace Windu's just brought into the fray there, so that's probably going to swing it in their favour. I think Empire really here just need to get a hold of C. They're going to hold B probably for a significant amount of time here, so really they just need to shore up their defences and let the ticket bleed do its work.
It definitely appears to be the case. It looks like it's Anomaly who's actually in, or Asmodee, sorry, who's actually in the scout helicopter. And these two scout helicopters are actually locked in a serious battle. And now we move over to a bit of naval combat as the Empire boat of choice comes flying in, doing huge amounts of damage. Oh, now that's interesting. It looks like they've actually changed the loadout on the attack boat to actually provide anti-air cover from the attack boat. That's very interesting to see. And it means that a certain change up in loadout has changed the strategy as far as Empire. And that's Blairs who's in there with that particular attack boat. And unfortunately he's missing with some of those rockets, but he's determined to take out that helicopter. Looking pretty interesting thus far, wouldn't you say, Dogbert?
Yeah, but here's where it comes down to it. I mean, Vin are using one guy in the chopper pilot and 2 engineers to repair him, right? Empire have 1 person in that chopper and 1 person in a boat who are managing to hold down. So that's 3 members of Vin being caught up in a protracted helicopter exchange. Meanwhile, they don't have any flags on the map. Empire have got more infantry, they've got them more effectively being used on the map, they're capturing points. Now Vin here obviously using the infantry who have been repairing the helicopter to land on B, which is the correct move, but the ticket bleed is so significant that they really should have been using those people to do something else. Yeah,
now unfortunately it looks like the two guys from Empire have noticed that and are now pushing in towards the B point. So you can see the battles going on between the Vin and Empire guys. One of the Vin guys is down. He's now about to be closed in from 2 directions, taking cover at the same time as you can see fire coming in from the IFV. Last member of the Vin guys taken down at the C point. The B point will be reclaimed. And now we're looking at the wonderfully Tiger... Oh, listen to that boat. Doesn't it sound wonderful? As the attack boat is roaming the area, looking for the enemy. The IFV also in there as well. And look at that, tickets are down to 10 as far as Vin are concerned. This is not looking good for them. No way they can come back from that with only 6 tickets remaining, 138 tickets for their enemy. A very dominant display by Empire, and from what you were saying, a definite right strategy they went for.
They locked in Vin quite early on, and they made them pay so much for not being able to get a foothold on any of those flags at the beginning. Empire were all over them in the first 5 minutes, and really Vin just struggled to recover from then on. They did quite well after they got out of the lock-in, but the damage had already been done, and it was very difficult for them to even get back on the scoreboard, let alone tickets.
137 tickets. Now, obviously, that's going to be. I think it's only they're only doing one map per round. If that's correct in thinking. Am I correct in my thinking, or am I incorrect in my thinking?
Yeah, I believe you are right. I think it's only one map.
Okay.